Hello, and welcome to Super English Talks. This is the channel where we don't just learn English words and grammar, but also learn how to understand ourselves, our thoughts, and the world around us. I'm really glad that you're here with me today. Maybe you're walking outside, maybe you're cooking, maybe you're cleaning your room, or maybe you're just sitting down and relaxing with your headphones. However you are listening, thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. Today, we're going to talk about something that sounds simple at first, but is actually very deep and powerful. We are going to explore the difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Now, if these words, conscious and subconscious, sound too scientific or difficult, don't worry. I will explain everything step by step in a very clear and simple way. You will hear real-life examples, I'll share some personal stories, and I'll even ask you some reflective questions that can help you connect these ideas to your own life. So, why is this topic important? Why should we care about the conscious and subconscious mind? Well, most people think that their choices, their habits, and their emotions all come from their conscious mind, the part that is awake and aware. But the truth is, much of what we do, what we think, and even how we feel is strongly influenced by the subconscious mind, the part of our mind that works silently in the background. You don't really see it, but it is always there, shaping your beliefs, your fears, and your behaviors. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever done something and then later thought, why did I do that? Or have you ever had the same negative thought again and again, even though you knew it wasn't useful? That is your subconscious mind in action. When we understand how the subconscious mind works, we can begin to change our habits, build more confidence, and even transform the way we see ourselves and our lives. So, in this episode, we will explore both the conscious and the subconscious mind. We'll look at how they are different, how they work together, and how we can train them to live a more peaceful, successful, and intentional life. Along the way, you'll also learn useful phrases and expressions in English, so you're improving both your mind and your language skills at the same time. And remember, on Super English Talks, this podcast is not only about listening to English. It's about growing with English. So, as you listen, I want you to think deeply. Ask yourself, how does this idea connect to my own life? What do I believe deep inside? Is there something I could change just by changing my thoughts? All right, are you ready? Take a deep breath with me, get comfortable, and let's explore the power of your mind, both the conscious and the subconscious. What is the conscious mind? Let's start with the conscious mind, because it's the part of the mind you're already most familiar with. So, what exactly is the conscious mind? In simple words, the conscious mind is the part of you that knows what is happening right now. It is the part that thinks on purpose. You use your conscious mind when you focus on something, when you make a decision, when you speak, or when you try to solve a problem. It is the thinking mind. Imagine you are sitting in a classroom or a meeting. You're listening carefully to the teacher or the speaker. You're trying to understand, maybe even taking notes. At that moment, your conscious mind is fully active. Another example. Let's say you're choosing what to eat for lunch. You're looking at the menu thinking, should I eat pizza or a salad? That decision-making process is your conscious mind at work. Or think about when you're learning English. Right now, as you listen to me, your conscious mind is paying attention to the words, to the meaning, and maybe to the pronunciation. You are awake, alert, and thinking with focus. So the conscious mind is like the captain of the ship. It is in charge when you are awake, when you're paying attention, and when you are making deliberate choices. But as we will soon see, there is another part of your mind, the subconscious, that is much larger and much more powerful. It's like the ocean under the ship. You don't always see it, but it is always moving and shaping the direction of your life. The conscious mind. When you're listening carefully to someone, your conscious mind is at work. Imagine you're in a classroom or at a meeting. You're paying attention to what the teacher or the speaker is saying. You might even take notes, ask a question, or repeat something silently in your head so you don't forget it. That's your conscious mind. It is fully awake, fully present, trying to understand, focus, and stay alert. Another very common example. Let's say you are speaking in English with someone. You want to express yourself clearly, so you carefully choose your words. Maybe you stop for a second and ask yourself, what's the right word here? Or, how can I say this politely? That little pause, that careful thinking before speaking, that is your conscious mind working hard. The conscious mind also helps you make everyday decisions. Some of them are small, like what to eat for lunch, whether you want tea or coffee, or which shirt to wear today. Some of them are bigger, like deciding if you should apply for a new job, move to another city, or even start learning a new skill. Whenever you consider your options, think about the benefits and the risks and try to choose what's best for you. That's your conscious mind leading the way. It's the voice in your head that says, okay, let me think about this carefully. Now, here's something important to understand. Your conscious mind is powerful, but it has a limit. Scientists say that it can only hold a small amount of information at one time, maybe 5, 6, 7, or up to 9 pieces of information. That's not very much. That's why it's difficult to do 2 demanding things at once. For example, if you're reading a book and someone starts talking to you, you'll notice that your focus breaks. You can't concentrate fully on both things at the same time. Your conscious mind has to choose where to put its attention. So, even though the conscious mind feels like it's in charge, it's actually just a small part of the whole mind. Think of it like an iceberg floating in the ocean. The part you see above the water, that's your conscious mind. But under the water, hidden from view, is a much larger part of the iceberg. That hidden part represents your subconscious mind. Most of your thoughts, feelings, habits, and behaviors come from there. We'll talk more about the subconscious soon. But for now, here's the main thing to remember. Your conscious mind is the part of you that is aware of the present moment. It's the part that knows what you're doing, what you're thinking, and what you're choosing to do on purpose. Let me give you a very simple example to make this clearer. Imagine you're learning to play the guitar. In the beginning, you think about every little move, where to put your fingers, how to hold the strings, how to strum. It feels difficult because you're using your conscious mind to guide every single action. But after weeks or months of practice, something changes. You don't have to think so much anymore. Your fingers just know where to go. Your hand naturally strums without effort. At that point, your subconscious mind has learned the skill and taken over the process. But let's not go too fast. We'll come back to the subconscious mind in a moment. Right now, I want you to pause and reflect for a second. Ask yourself this simple question. What am I consciously thinking about right now? Maybe you're thinking about the words I'm saying. Maybe your mind has already started wandering to your to-do list, your phone notifications, or something you forgot to do today. Whatever it is, the fact that you can notice your thoughts, that awareness, is your conscious mind at work. And here's the beautiful part. When you start paying attention to your conscious thoughts, you open the door to self-awareness. You begin to live more deliberately. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're actively choosing how to live it. You're deciding how to speak, how to think, and how to respond. That's the very first step in personal growth, becoming more self-aware. So, as we continue with this episode, I want you to practice staying present. Notice when your mind starts to wander. Gently bring it back to the moment. This simple exercise can help you strengthen your conscious mind and train yourself to live with more clarity and purpose. The subconscious mind. Now that we've explored the conscious mind, the part of you that is awake, aware, and making choices, it's time to go a little deeper. Let's talk about the subconscious mind. This is the part of the mind that people often misunderstand, but it's also the part that has the biggest influence on how we think, feel, and behave every single day, even when we don't notice it. So what exactly is the subconscious mind? In simple words, it's the part of your mind that works silently in the background. It stores your memories, your habits, your beliefs, your fears, and even your emotions. While your conscious mind is busy making decisions in the present moment, your subconscious is holding on to thousands of pieces of information from your past. It's always running, like a hidden engine that never stops, even while you sleep. Let's use a simple comparison. Think about your smartphone. When you open an app, maybe your camera, that's like your conscious mind. You're choosing it and using it in the moment. But at the same time, there are other apps running quietly in the background. Your email is syncing, your calendar is updating, maybe your music is still playing. You don't see those apps on the screen, but they're working. That's exactly how the subconscious mind works. It's always running in the background, guiding your thoughts, your actions, and even your feelings, without you having to think about every little step. Here's another example. Have you ever driven a familiar road, maybe to work, school, or the market, and later realized that you don't really remember much of the drive? You weren't asleep. You were safe. You stopped at the lights. You made the right turns, and you reached your destination. But your conscious mind was somewhere else, maybe planning your day, thinking about your problems, or remembering something that happened yesterday. Who was driving the car then? It was your subconscious mind. It remembered the road, it knew the routine, and it carried you safely while your conscious mind wandered. The subconscious is also where your automatic thoughts and reactions come from. These are the quick feelings or responses that just appear without effort. For example, someone gives you a compliment. Instead of smiling and saying thank you, you immediately feel shy or uncomfortable. Where does that come from? Not from the conscious mind, but from the subconscious. Or maybe when you see a dog, you instantly feel afraid, even if you know this dog won't hurt you. That fear might come from a memory of being chased by a dog when you were a child. These reactions come from deep beliefs stored in your subconscious. Beliefs like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve praise, or dogs are dangerous. Here's the interesting part. You don't usually think about these beliefs. They live quietly under the surface, but they influence your daily life in powerful ways. And many of them were formed a long time ago, sometimes in childhood, sometimes from family, school, culture, or even one single experience or comment from someone else. You may not even remember when it happened, but your subconscious remembers, and it keeps those ideas stored inside. Sometimes this can hold us back, but sometimes it also protects us. The subconscious mind is designed to keep us safe. For example, if you once touched a hot stove as a child, your subconscious quickly learned, don't touch that again, it hurts. And from then on, whenever you get close to something hot, you pull your hand back without even thinking. That's your subconscious working to protect you. So the subconscious is not bad. It's not against you. It's simply doing its job, keeping you safe, storing your experiences, and guiding your actions. But here's the key. If we want to grow, if we want to change old habits or build new ones, we need to learn how to work with the subconscious mind. And that's exactly what we'll start to explore next. The subconscious mind, continued. The subconscious mind often creates emotional reactions to keep us safe. For example, Let's say you once gave a speech in front of people and it didn't go well. Maybe you forgot your words, maybe people laughed, or maybe you just felt embarrassed. That painful memory gets stored deep in your subconscious. Now, fast forward to the next time you think about speaking in public. You haven't even gone on stage yet, but suddenly you feel nervous. Your hands get sweaty. Your heart beats faster. You feel afraid. Is there real danger in that moment?
No.
But your subconscious remembers the old pain and is trying to protect you from feeling it again. That fear isn't logical. It comes from the emotional memory in your subconscious. Let me ask you something. Have you ever done something and later thought, why did I act like that? Why did I push that person away, even though I liked them? Why did I avoid that opportunity, even though it was good for me? Why did I get so upset over something so small? The answer is often found in your subconscious mind. Think of it like a computer program. It keeps running the same script over and over, unless you step in, notice it, and change it. Here's the thing, the subconscious mind is powerful, but it's not very logical. It doesn't always care about facts. Instead, it believes what you tell it again and again. For example, if you keep saying to yourself, I'm not good at English, your subconscious will accept that belief and make it feel real, even if it's not true. But if you start repeating, I'm improving every day, your subconscious will begin to accept that belief too. And once it does, you'll start to feel more confident and motivated. The subconscious learns through repetition, emotion, and experience, not through logic or facts. That's why it's so important to notice what you're feeding into it every day. Here's the good news. You don't need to be afraid of your subconscious. In fact, when you understand it, it becomes one of your greatest helpers. Think about it. Your subconscious helps you walk, breathe, eat, and talk without you needing to think about every step. It stores your skills, your talents, and your strengths. It can even help you heal, grow, and succeed if you start giving it the right messages. But remember, your subconscious doesn't choose what to believe. That's your job. You choose with your conscious mind. And over time, your subconscious follows. So, as you reflect on your own life, start to notice the patterns. What are the thoughts or reactions that keep coming back, even when they don't make sense? Where might those reactions come from? Is this belief something I consciously chose? Or is it something I learned without realizing? Asking questions like this opens the door to real personal change. Now that we've explored the subconscious, let's move to the next step. Understanding how the conscious and subconscious minds are different, but also how they work together. Key differences between the two. Now that you have a clear picture of both the conscious and the subconscious mind, let's look at how they're different. You can think of them as two very different people working on the same team. They don't always do the same job, but they need to cooperate to help you live well. Let's start with the conscious mind. The conscious mind is all about logic, thinking, and decision-making. It works slowly and carefully. It takes effort to use it. You need to be awake, alert, and focused. For example, when you are learning a new English word, your conscious mind is active. You're paying attention to the spelling, the sound, the meaning. You might repeat it, write it in a sentence, or try to use it in a conversation. That takes energy. That takes effort. The subconscious, on the other hand, well, we'll get to that in a moment. Key differences between the conscious and subconscious mind. So far, we've seen that the conscious mind is about focus, effort, and awareness, while the subconscious mind is about memory, habits, and automatic reactions. Let's go deeper into how they differ. When you use your conscious mind, it takes energy and focus. That's why learning something new feels tiring at first. You're thinking carefully step by step. For example, if you're learning a new English word, you have to focus on the spelling, the pronunciation, the meaning, and maybe even practice using it in a sentence. That's conscious learning. It requires effort. But the subconscious works very differently. It's fast, automatic, and emotional. It doesn't need your attention to function. In fact, it keeps working even when you're not thinking about it at all. Think about it like this. Your subconscious is the part that runs the show behind the scenes. It controls your daily habits, your emotional reactions, and many of the things you do without even realizing. For example, if you've always felt nervous when speaking in public, it's not really your conscious mind that's creating that fear. It's your subconscious. Somewhere in your past, it learned. Speaking in public is scary. It's not safe. And now it triggers nervousness automatically, trying to protect you, even though logically, you know you're safe. A simple way to picture the difference is with the iceberg metaphor. Imagine an iceberg floating in the ocean. The small tip that you can see above the water is your conscious mind. But the much larger part, hidden beneath the surface, is your subconscious. Most of your thoughts, habits, and behaviors are happening down there, below what you can see. And just like an iceberg, the hidden part is much more powerful than the part above the surface. Another difference between the two is how they learn. The conscious mind learns through logic, by reading, thinking, listening, and focusing. That's why it's great for school, studying, and planning. The subconscious mind learns through repetition, emotion, and experience. It doesn't need logic. It needs feelings and patterns. That's why you might know something logically, but still feel stuck. For example, you may know with your conscious mind, I'm safe when I speak English in public. No one is going to hurt me. But your subconscious still makes your body nervous. Your hands shake, your heart races because it's reacting from old emotional memories, not from logic. Let's say you've been telling yourself for years, I'm not good at English. I always make mistakes. Even if today your conscious mind tries to think more positively, your subconscious may still hold on to that old belief because it has heard the negative message so many times before. As the saying goes, old habits die hard. The more something is repeated, the deeper it sinks into the subconscious, and the more real it feels. That's why it takes time, patience, and practice to replace an old belief with a new one. You're basically retraining your subconscious with new messages. Now, you might be wondering, do these two parts of my mind fight with each other? The answer is no, not exactly. They don't fight, but if they're not working in harmony, they can send you mixed messages. For example, your conscious mind says, I want to start going to the gym. I want to be healthier. But your subconscious whispers, it's too hard. You're not a gym person. Just stay home and rest. In that moment, your conscious goal and your subconscious belief are not aligned. That's when you feel stuck, conflicted, or frustrated. You want to change, but something inside keeps pulling you back to old patterns. This is one of the biggest challenges in personal growth, when your conscious mind and subconscious mind are not working together. And this is also why it's so important to learn how to use both. The conscious mind sets the intention. It says, this is what I want. This is the goal. It decides, plans, and focuses. But the subconscious mind is what actually carries it out by turning that intention into habit, into emotion, into automatic behavior. The secret to real change is getting the two to work together, like teammates on the same side. Let me give you a simple personal example. When I was younger, I remember failing badly during a class presentation. I forgot my lines, froze up, and the whole room felt like it was staring at me. At that moment, I felt embarrassed and small. Now, logically, it was just a school presentation. Nobody was going to hurt me, but my subconscious didn't see it that way. It stored that moment as danger. It learned, speaking in front of people is painful. Don't do it again. Years later, whenever I had to speak in front of others, I would feel nervous. even if the situation was completely safe. My hands would sweat, my heart would race, and I'd want to run away. That reaction wasn't coming from logic. It was my subconscious trying to protect me from feeling embarrassed again. And maybe you've had similar experiences. Maybe you once trusted someone and got hurt, so now it feels scary to open up again. Or maybe you once tried something new, failed, and now you hesitate to try again, even though logically you know failure is part of learning. This is how the subconscious quietly shapes our lives. It takes old experiences and keeps repeating the same reaction, even if it doesn't serve us anymore. But here's the good news. Just as the subconscious can learn fear, it can also unlearn fear. Just as it can store limiting beliefs, it can also store empowering ones. The key is to first notice the patterns. Ask yourself, where do my fears come from? Is this belief really mine, or is it something I picked up long ago? Is this habit helping me or holding me back? When you start to reflect on those questions, you begin to see how much of your life has been shaped by what's beneath the surface. And that awareness is the first step to change. When I was younger, I was afraid of asking questions in class. Maybe you've felt the same way before. I used to sit quietly, even when I didn't understand something. The thought in my head was, if I ask a question, maybe people will laugh at me. Maybe they'll think I'm not smart. And because I never questioned that thought, I just believed it. My subconscious mind accepted it as truth. So for years, I stayed silent, even though asking questions could have helped me learn and grow. But here's the important part. That fear wasn't based on truth. It wasn't a fact. It was just something my subconscious mind had picked up, probably from one small moment when I felt embarrassed in the past. My subconscious remembered that embarrassment and decided, okay, let's avoid this forever. Asking questions is dangerous. That's how the subconscious works. It tries to protect us, even when the danger isn't real anymore. It took me time and awareness to change that pattern. I had to remind myself over and over. It's okay to ask. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay to learn. And little by little, the fear began to fade. Now, here's something important. It's not just personal experiences that shape our subconscious. We also carry beliefs from our culture, our family, and our society. And many of these beliefs are passed down quietly, without anyone saying them directly. For example, in some cultures, people grow up hearing that talking about money is rude. In others, success is only respected if it comes with hard work and struggle. These ideas sink deep into the subconscious. So what happens? If you believe money is bad, you might avoid opportunities that could actually help you. If you believe rest is lazy, you might push yourself until you burn out. Your subconscious doesn't ask, is this belief true? Does it help me? No, it just accepts whatever it hears enough times. And then there are beliefs about confidence and self-worth. Let's say, as a child, you were praised only when you got things perfect, maybe when you got the highest grade, or when you behaved exactly right. If that happened, your subconscious might have learned, I'm only valuable when I succeed. If I make a mistake, I'm not good enough. Now, as an adult, that belief can make you afraid of failure, afraid of trying new things, or afraid of showing up as your real self. Not because you don't have potential, but because your subconscious is following an old rule that no longer fits your life. So now I want to pause and ask you something powerful. What belief might you be carrying that no longer serves you? Maybe it's a belief like, I'm not smart enough. I'll never be confident. People like me can't succeed. Where did that belief come from? Is it based on fact? Or is it based on something you once heard or experienced years ago? And the most important question, Do you still want to carry it with you? The beautiful thing is this. Once you become aware of a belief, you have the power to change it. You can reprogram your subconscious with new thoughts, new habits, and new experiences. It won't change overnight, just like you can't build a new muscle in one day. But with patience and repetition, your subconscious will begin to learn a new story. A story that supports you instead of limiting you. And that brings us to the next part of this episode. Now that we understand how powerful the subconscious mind is, how it shapes your beliefs, your habits, your emotions, the question is, can we change it? And the good news is, yes, we can. Even though the subconscious works silently in the background, it can absolutely be reprogrammed. That means you can teach it new messages, new habits, and new ways of thinking. It takes time. It takes consistency. It takes patience. But it is possible. Just remember this. Your conscious mind and your subconscious mind don't learn in the same way. The conscious mind learns by reading, by thinking, by studying. But your subconscious learns through repetition, through emotion, and through experience. That's why in the next section, we're going to explore simple techniques that anyone can use to start reprogramming the subconscious mind so that it works for you, not against you. And you'll see how small, daily steps can lead to big, lasting changes. If we really want to create change on a deeper level, we need to go beyond logic. We can't just think our way into change because the subconscious mind doesn't listen to logic alone. It listens to repetition, to feelings, and to practice. So the tools that work best are the ones that speak directly to the subconscious in its own language. One of the most powerful tools is repetition. Think about it. Most of the habits and beliefs you carry today became part of you because you heard them, saw them, or practiced them again and again. The subconscious learns through consistency. That's why affirmations can be so helpful. An affirmation is a short, positive sentence you repeat every day. Something like, I am learning and growing every day. I am confident when I speak. At first, when you say an affirmation, your conscious mind might argue with you. It might whisper, that's not true, you're not really confident. But here's the secret. The more you repeat the affirmation, the more your subconscious starts to accept it. And once the subconscious accepts it, something magical happens. Your behavior begins to change naturally, almost without effort. Another powerful tool is visualization. This is when you use your imagination to create clear pictures in your mind of the life you want to live or the person you want to become. For example, imagine you're about to give a presentation. Instead of letting your mind picture everything going wrong, you close your eyes and picture yourself standing tall, smiling, speaking with confidence, and connecting with your audience. You don't just see it, you feel it. You imagine the calmness in your body, the smile on your face, the sound of your voice flowing smoothly. Visualization works because the subconscious mind doesn't always know the difference between imagination and reality. If you keep showing it positive images, it begins to expect success instead of fear. In a way, you're practicing success in your mind before it happens in real life. Another tool you can try is meditation or deep breathing. These practices help quiet the busy chatter of the conscious mind, creating space for new, empowering ideas to sink into the subconscious. In meditation, you might focus on your breath, or you might repeat a calming word. At first, your mind might wander, but over time you'll notice that you start to feel more relaxed, more centered, and more connected to your inner self. And in that peaceful state, your subconscious is more open and receptive to new, positive messages. A fourth tool that is both simple and powerful is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, fears, goals, and emotions helps you see what's really going on inside you. When you write down your limiting beliefs, things like, I'm not good enough, or I always mess up, you can begin to challenge them. You can ask yourself, is this belief really helping me? Or is it holding me back? Journaling gives you a mirror to your inner world. And awareness, as we've already talked about, is always the first step to change. Let me share a little story with you. One of my students, Maria, always struggled with speaking English in front of others. She told me, "I know the words. I understand the grammar. But when it's time to speak, my mind freezes." When we talked more deeply, she realized the real problem wasn't language, it was belief. Deep inside, her subconscious was holding on to the thought, "I'm not good enough." That belief was blocking her. So we worked on reprogramming that message. Every morning, Maria stood in front of the mirror and said out loud, "I am a confident English speaker. I can express myself clearly." At first, she felt awkward and even a little silly, but she kept going. Along with affirmations, she also started journaling. Each day she wrote about her fears, but she also made sure to write down one small success. Even something as simple as answering a question in class went into her journal as a victory. And then, after a few weeks, something shifted. She didn't suddenly feel perfect, but she did feel braver. She began speaking up more often. She asked questions in class. She even gave a short presentation, and for her, that was a huge step forward. This is the power of reprogramming the subconscious mind. It doesn't happen overnight, but with repetition, with practice, and with the right tools, your subconscious begins to believe a new story. And once your subconscious believes something new, your actions start to line up with that belief. Automatically, naturally, without forcing it. Why did Maria begin to change? Because she started to believe a new message. A message she had chosen for herself and practiced every single day. That's the difference. When we stop letting old beliefs control us and start feeding our mind with new ones, we begin to grow. So today, I want to encourage you to try just one small technique. Don't pressure yourself to do everything at once. Just choose one. Maybe you write down a single affirmation and repeat it before bed. Maybe you spend just 2 minutes imagining a future where you feel calm and confident. Or maybe you take 5 minutes to write in a journal about what you're afraid of and what you'd like to believe instead. You don't need to change everything today. You don't need to fix every belief overnight. But the moment you decide to change your mind, even in a small way, you begin to change your life. And that brings me to one of my favorite expressions. Change your mind. Change your life. It's simple, but it's powerful. Because your mind, especially your subconscious mind, is the foundation of your habits, your emotions, and your choices. If you can change what's happening inside, you will naturally begin to see different results outside. Reprogramming your subconscious is not magic. It's not always easy, but it is possible. And here's the beautiful part. Every small step counts. Every new thought, every positive word you speak, every new habit you practice, it's like planting a seed. And just like seeds, with time, attention, and care, those small things grow into a whole new way of thinking and living. Now, this brings us to something very important, the role of consistency and patience. So far in this episode, we've explored how the subconscious works and how we can start reprogramming it. But now we arrive at a truth that many people forget. And that truth is this. Real change takes time. It doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in a week. It takes patience. And it takes consistency. These two qualities are like the secret ingredients in every transformation. Without them, the process stops before it even begins. Let's start with consistency. Consistency means showing up for yourself again and again, even when it feels boring, even when it feels too small to matter. It doesn't mean being perfect every day. It means being regular. It means coming back again and again to the practice of changing your thoughts and habits. Here's why this matters. When you repeat a thought, a habit, or a behavior, your subconscious begins to accept it. That's the mechanism of reprogramming. 1 time is not enough. 10 times is not enough. But small repetition, day after day, creates powerful change. And this isn't just motivation, it's science. Our brains have something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change, grow, and create new connections throughout your life. In the past, scientists used to think the brain stopped changing once you became an adult. But now we know that's not true. Your brain is always learning, always adapting. Think of it like this. Every time you repeat a new thought or action, you are creating a new path in your brain. The more often you walk that path, the clearer and stronger it becomes. Just like a trail in a forest, if you keep walking it, the weeds get pushed aside, the ground becomes smoother, and soon it feels natural to take that path instead of the old one. But here's the challenge. While you're building the new path in your mind, the old ones are still there. And those old habits, those old thoughts, can feel very strong. As the saying goes, old habits die hard. That means it's not always easy to break free from a pattern, even when you truly want to. Maybe you've tried to feel more confident, to stop comparing yourself to others, or to speak English without fear. You started with energy and hope, but after a few days, you found yourself slipping back into the old way. That's normal. It doesn't mean you failed. It only means your brain is still practicing, and it needs more time. This is where patience becomes so important. In today's world, we're used to quick results. We want everything fast. But the mind doesn't work like that. As the old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Big, beautiful change takes time. Think of your subconscious mind as a garden. You plant the seeds of new thoughts, but they don't grow overnight. You water them, you give them sunlight, you protect them from weeds. And after weeks or months, you finally see the sprouts pushing through the soil. That's how growth works. Invisible at first, but happening beneath the surface. It's the same with personal transformation. You may not feel different right away, but if you keep going, the change will come. And while you're on this journey, here's something crucial. Be kind to yourself. Growth is never a straight line. Some days will feel easy. Other days will feel heavy or discouraging. That's okay. What matters most is that you don't give up. If you miss a day, simply start again tomorrow. If you make a mistake, forgive yourself and move forward. Expecting perfection will only bring frustration. But giving yourself space and compassion will help you grow more than you can imagine. Let me share a small example. One of my podcast listeners, Leo, wrote to me a few months ago. He wanted to stop negative self-talk and feel more confident when speaking English. He started listening to affirmations every morning, but after a week, he felt nothing had changed. He told me, "Maybe I'm not doing it right." I said, "You are doing it right. You just need to keep going." A month later, Leo wrote again. This time, his message was different. He said, "I still have bad days, but now I catch those negative thoughts faster. I don't believe them so easily anymore." That's progress. Not perfect, but powerful. So let me ask you something. Are you willing to be patient with your own growth? Really think about it. Can you give yourself time to change? Can you stay with the process even when it feels slow? If your answer is yes, then you've already taken a big step forward. Because growth doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the most consistent, the ones who keep showing up. Remember, the subconscious mind doesn't respond to pressure or speed. It responds to calm, steady, regular repetition. So choose one small habit. Maybe it's a daily affirmation. Maybe it's a few minutes of journaling. Or maybe just a short visualization before bed. Whatever you choose, keep doing it. Trust the process. Celebrate your progress, even if it feels small or quiet. Because change is already happening, deep beneath the surface, like roots growing before a tree rises tall. Practical tips to align the two minds. Now that we've explored both the conscious and subconscious minds and talked about consistency and patience, let's focus on something very practical: how to align these two parts of the mind so they work together. When your conscious and subconscious are on the same team, life becomes smoother. You feel more confident, more focused, and more connected to your goals. Step 1. Set an intention each morning. An intention is like a message to your mind. It tells your brain where to focus. For example, you might wake up and say, "Today I will stay calm. Today I will take one step toward my goal." This simple action helps your conscious mind stay clear. And with repetition, your subconscious begins to follow. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're choosing how to show up. It's like planting seeds of change first thing in the morning. Step 2. Pay attention to your self-talk. We all have an inner voice. Sometimes it's supportive, but other times it can be critical, saying things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I always fail." These words may seem small, but they have power. Over time, your subconscious believes them. That's why it's so important to train your mind to speak with encouragement. Try replacing negative thoughts with more supportive ones, such as, "I'm learning. I'm improving. I don't have to be perfect to make progress." Every time you do this, you're teaching your subconscious a new, healthier message. Step 3. Practice daily awareness. Take a few minutes each day, maybe in the morning or before bed, to reflect. Ask yourself, what did I think about today? How did I react in difficult moments? Were my thoughts helping me or hurting me? This small act of reflection helps you become more conscious of your inner world. And the moment you become more aware, you gain more control. You're no longer being run by old habits. You're choosing new ones. Step 4. Combine conscious learning with subconscious reprogramming. For example, if you're learning English, don't just focus on vocabulary and grammar. Add mindset tools to your routine. While practicing new words, also repeat positive phrases like, "I enjoy speaking English. Every day I'm getting better." This way, you're learning with your conscious mind and sending supportive messages to your subconscious. Over time, this makes your learning experience more confident and natural. Step 5. Protect your mind from negative input. Your subconscious absorbs everything, not only your own thoughts, but also the messages you hear and see around you. So, ask yourself, am I spending too much time with people who complain or criticize? Am I watching or reading things that fill me with fear or doubt? If yes, it may be time to make a shift. This doesn't mean ignoring real problems. It simply means choosing to focus on hope, growth, and progress. Surround yourself with positivity. Listen to podcasts that inspire you. Read books that uplift you. Spend time with people who encourage growth. Even small shifts help, like playing calming music, posting a kind reminder on your mirror, or saying thank you more often. These small choices create a safe, supportive space for your subconscious to grow. I know we've talked about a lot of ideas, but the goal is never for you to remember every single detail. The real goal was to help you start thinking differently, to help you look within and notice the thoughts, beliefs, and habits that are shaping your life, both the ones you've chosen and the ones that were programmed long ago. We explored the difference between the conscious and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is logical, aware, and active. It's like the driver of your life, making decisions and choosing the path. The subconscious mind is like the powerful engine running beneath the surface, holding your habits, beliefs, emotions, and memories. It doesn't always speak loudly, but in many ways, it runs the show. We also talked about how the subconscious is formed through childhood experiences, repetition, cultural influences, and emotional memories. Many of these beliefs weren't chosen on purpose, but the good news is they don't have to stay forever. With the right tools and the right mindset, the subconscious can be reprogrammed. And that's where patience and consistency come in. Real change doesn't happen overnight. As we said earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day, and old habits don't disappear easily. But every time you repeat a new message, every time you practice a small habit, every time you show yourself kindness instead of criticism, you are building new pathways. That's the real work of growth. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to do everything at once. Start small. Show up for yourself, even on the hard days. Forgive yourself when you slip, and then keep going. Believe that you are capable of creating a better version of yourself, not through force, but through gentle, daily alignment of your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Change doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the most consistent, the ones who keep showing up. So today, I invite you to take one small step. Plant one seed. Say one kind word to yourself. Trust that with time, patience, and practice, those small actions will grow into something powerful. And remember this, you've already come a long way, and your journey is only beginning. Final thoughts and encouragement, simpler and longer. The key to everything we've talked about today is this: show up for yourself, even when it feels hard, and trust the process, even when it feels slow. We've also explored some very practical tips to help you bring your conscious and subconscious minds into alignment. Simple practices like setting a daily intention, speaking to yourself with kindness instead of criticism, writing your thoughts in a journal, or surrounding yourself with more positive and uplifting energy. At first, these may seem like small things, almost too small to matter, but don't underestimate them. These little choices are like planting seeds. And when you keep planting seeds day after day, they begin to grow. Slowly but surely, they turn into new patterns, stronger confidence, and a healthier, calmer mindset. As we close this episode, I want you to remember something very important. You have the power to shape your inner world. Yes, you. No matter what your past has been, no matter what habits you've carried, no matter what fears you still feel, you are not stuck. You can create new beliefs. You can rewire old thoughts. You can build a life that feels lighter, more peaceful, more confident, and more aligned with who you truly are. So here's my encouragement for you. Don't feel like you need to change everything at once. Big transformations always begin with small steps. Just try one thing from today's episode. Maybe it's choosing a short affirmation and repeating it every morning. Maybe it's writing down your thoughts before you go to bed. Or maybe it's something as simple as noticing how you talk to yourself and gently replacing one negative phrase with a kinder one. That one step may feel small, but it can be the beginning of something very powerful. And while you do this, please remember to be gentle with yourself. There will be days when you feel motivated and strong, and there will be days when you feel tired, distracted, or stuck. Both are okay. Growth is not about being perfect. Growth is about being present. It's about showing up for yourself in little ways and then continuing to walk forward even when progress feels slow. Every step you take is leading you somewhere good, even if you can't see it yet. Key before we finish, I want to thank you from my heart for spending your time with me today. I hope this episode gave you something valuable, something that speaks not only to your mind, but also to your heart. If it did, I'd love to invite you to do two simple things. First, share this episode with a friend who might need this message. You never know how much of a difference it could make for them. Second, take just a few minutes to journal about one insight you gained today. Writing things down helps you connect more deeply to what you've learned, and it makes the change feel more real in your everyday life. And of course, I'd love to have you back next time. Remember, this channel, Super English Talks, is not only about improving your English. It's also about improving your mindset, your communication, and your life. When you listen, you're not just practicing a language, you're also practicing growth. You are building a better version of yourself in more than one way. And I feel truly honored to be on that journey with you. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. Because the truth is, you are capable of more than you realize. I'll talk to you soon.